Good morning and welcome to our neighborhood Unitarian Universalist Congregational Service. Thank you for joining us on this special day, the seventh day of Hanukkah. I'm Peter Marmorek, and I'll be your service weaver and guest speaker today. At the end of the service, we'll be sharing food together because today's service is about community. Now we have nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. Let's start with our announcements. A reminder to everyone that even though we don't have a minister in full, we do have a pastoral care minister, and that's Pat Trudeau, who's a wonderful and wise lady. She's the minister of Northwest Unitarian Congregation, and you can contact Pat for pastoral care if you need that at pastoralcare@nuuc.ca, and you're always welcome to seek spiritual guidance or talk to her or whatever you would like. Two Danforth Multi-Faith Commons activities that are going on. That's both our congregation and the Danforth Jewish Circle and East End United. One is the Sisters to Sisters Flood Relief Campaign. We support young girls and women in Pakistan, and needed donations are new winter blankets, sanitary items, and sewing machines. You can drop those off at the Jackman entrance. Out of the cold donations are needed, toiletries, clothes, and you can drop those off with the custodians with a label of OOTC, out of the cold. You can speak to Laura Thomas for more information. Ongoing activities, the Spirit Choir rehearses Monday nights from 7 to 9. For more info, you can contact Suzanne, music@nuuc.ca. The Neighborhood Art Gallery, which you see around you and above, is featuring Lauren Renzetti and Ravinder Ruprai this month, or these months. Next Sunday, our theme is 2023 Hopes and Dreams. We'll have 3 or 4 speakers from amongst our congregants, music by Naomi Terrell and Karen Richards, and the service weaver will be Gordon Thorne. Now we have nowhere else to go. We have nothing else to do. Bring your hearts, minds, spirits together as we give greeting and gratitude for being with each other. This is our threshold moment as we enter sacred space. Our service begins now. Chalice lighting, Michael, can I ask you to light the chalice? There are some matches hidden under there. And sing along with our choir.
We light this chalice to remember, to light the fire within our own hearts.
And we'll start with a prelude video, The Dark of Winter.
1, 2, 3.
Dark of winter, soft and still, your quiet calm surrounds me. Let my thoughts go where they will. Ease my mind profoundly.
Thank you, Spirit Choir. Maybe I'll just keep this here. Good morning and welcome. Our musical director, Suzanne Mazars, and our director of lifespan learning, Zoraya Getchell, aren't here with us today, as you may have inferred. I start by acknowledging that the Wendat and Anishinaabeg Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Mississaugas of the New Credit lived here for generations before settlers arrived. They are still here today, together with other First Nations and Inuit and Métis people. I am hugely pleased that last week's COP15 biodiversity meeting recognized, honored, and sealed the vital role that Indigenous peoples have in preserving our biosphere. As Unitarians, we're open to many beliefs and we learn from many traditions. We welcome all people to our religious community. If you're visiting us for the first time, we welcome you, encourage you to stay for lunch. Our services vary from week to week, and today's is unique within my experience. I was trying to remember whether we've ever had a service with the same person was both service weaver and message giver, and I decided Wayne's early services would have been that, but nothing since then. Our mission here at Neighborhood is to empower spiritual growth and shared action for the care of our world. Our theme today is sharing. We share December 25th. We'll share our joys and concerns. We'll share blessings, and we'll end by sharing food. And for my scriptural reading, as Mr. Spock said on Star Trek, the miracle is this: the more we share, the more we have. Now we'll take a short time to greet our neighbors. After you've greeted a few neighbors, turn to the camera on the back wall and offer a greeting to those joining us virtually.
Morning, Sigrid. Morning, Thorns.
Hi, Susan. Hi, Susan. Hi, Gordon. And Michelle. And hi, sound system.
Merry Christmas,
Merry
everyone, and
Merry
happy Hanukkah.
Yeah,
Happy 7th day of Hanukkah.
yeah, that too.
Yes.
Yeah, happy Hanukkah.
I actually have to step out. I was just dropping in to say hi. I gotta head out to Burlington now, so take care, everyone.
Oh, safe travels.
Safe
Are
travel.
the roads okay? Are the
I'm
roads
taking
okay?
the GO train, so the train should be okay.
Okay, good. I drove early to Renfrew to miss the joyous driving up the north, which I did anyway, but it was fine. But safe travels and enjoy.
Opening words, which will appear on our various screens. Let us cast a circle of a sacred space here. Let us cast a circle of a place of forgiveness, a place of love. If we want the world to change, we must cast in our space and in ourselves the seeds that grow a different kind of life. A life of graciousness, of creative intelligence, a place of life and spirit for ourselves and our families. For the first song, I ask you to rise in spirit and in body as you are able, and join the Ghost of Neighborhood Choirs Past as we sing Hard Times.
Let us pause in life's pleasures and count its many tears, while we all sup sorrow with the poor. There's a song that will linger forever in our ears. Oh,
Thank you, Spirit Choir. Beata, Jose, Kaya, and Zoe, come and join us. Okay. This is a special time in our service when we invite you to share a joy or a concern in your life. Let me get the candles here. I think I can do this. I know the script well enough that by this point. Now it's time for meditation. We have a joint project that Suzanne and I did over the 2 years we couldn't meet in person. We put together a series of 9 divertissements, combinations of Suzanne doing the music and me doing the images. This one is called Healing Grounds. yet, unless you're as obsessive a geek as I am. It feels dark, and we're going into the cold, which is why we come together today to share food, to share light, to share warmth. Almost all spiritual traditions do this. Almost all communities do this, whether they have a name for it or not. That is why we seek community, because when it's dark and cold, it's good to give each other support. So I'm happy you chose today to be here, to share food and to share who we all are. I'm stronger because you chose to be here. We chose to become a part of this community as we choose what this community will become going forward. That can be stressful when different members have different visions, but working through that stress is really the most basic task that any community has. A year ago, I wasn't sure what was going to happen with this congregation. As the saying goes, for some of us, denial is more than just a river in Egypt. I think the hardest part of that challenge, really the hardest part of life, is to be aligned with reality, to be in tune with the way things really are. In the shamanic practice I follow, we call that chutakama, choiceless awareness of when you and the great mystery are in alignment. And when that happens, you have an incredible power because you're in tune with the real world. A story will illustrate just what that means. It was about 50 years ago, when around Christmas time, when I was on a bus going from Toronto back to Boston, where I was a student at the time. That meant we drove down the New York State Thruway, an extraordinarily boring highway, and it started to snow. It started to snow quite heavily, and after a while, we were down to one lane, and then we were down to 0 lanes, and everything stopped. And there were cars ahead of the bus, cars behind the bus, and none of the cars were moving anywhere. We were all stuck. Now, I was 21 at the time, and this just seemed like kind of an interesting adventure. You know, we were on the bus, we were warm, we had lots of fuel, we had a washroom, so we were okay. So I got some other people organized, and we walked up and down through the snow, telling the cars that, you know, there was a bus here, and we had lots of fuel, and we had a washroom, and if they needed, they were welcome to come. Not many did, as I remember. Some did. And eventually we got back to the bus. When we got back to the bus, there was an older couple. They seemed very old at the time, so they were probably 20 years younger than I am now. And they started screaming at the bus driver that they had a really important appointment the next morning in Boston, and he needed to get them there for their appointment. That was why they bought the ticket. And they kept this up for quite a long time, and the bus driver was pretty laid back, and he kept pointing out at the fields of snow and saying, well, what exactly would you like me to do? And eventually the snowplows came by about 10 hours later and cleared the lane that the cars weren't in, and we started to move slowly, and eventually we got to Boston. But I've always remembered that poor couple yelling that they had to get into Boston and someone needed to do something. It's become my go-to example of not being aligned with reality. One of my favorite Yiddish sayings is, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. We all laugh at that because we know it's true. We have a plan for what's going to happen. Then the world shifts. There's a flat tire, a sprained ankle, a sudden snowstorm, 2 lines turning up on a COVID test, and things change and our plans aren't going to happen. That's the moment that we're being tested. Can we realign with this new unplanned world, and can we do it with some grace and acceptance? Sometimes I can, sometimes I flame. I think I've gotten better than I used to be at that, and that maybe aging has something to do with it. Certainly, the moments when plans fall apart are the same moments that having a community to support you is a great gift. My wife Diana's death 5 years ago was not part of any plan we had. The morning of the day she died, we were making plans to go to Italy that summer, and then suddenly it all fell apart. In the month that followed, this community was a great support. I wouldn't have come through as well without you. Part of that was certainly Wayne's pastoral care, part was friends asking what I needed, and part of it, which I hadn't expected, was having things to do here, things I'd committed to. I was needed, and if I hadn't been needed, the darkness would have been even harder to get through. And of course, I had Rui, my Labradoodle, who needed me to walk him, to feed him, to play with him, and who gave me a reason to get up when I needed one. So even when I felt that I had nothing to give, that I was needed by my community, helped me to get through the dark. When we were all separated by 2 years of pandemic, the Zoom version of these services helped us remember community and get through. When I first thought of giving this service today, I thought, but what if no one comes? But I trust this community, and as the saying goes, whoever turns up will be the right people. You are the right people. This is the way we get through the dark, is helping each other stumble along, helping each other align with the new way things are. I'm deeply grateful to be here in community with you today, and thank you for listening. Now is the time for the offertory. This congregation is a living entity, and like all living things, it must have nature and sustenance. If you contribute by pre-authorized withdrawals, as some of us do, thank you. As we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm our lives within it. On Zoom, there'll be a donation slide and a link posted, and I'll find the basket and pass it. If you've found love and acceptance here, if you've found a home here, if you've known kindred spirits here, then we thank you for our contribution, which helps us to build a new world, a better world for all of us, for the common good. And I ask you to rise again for our closing song, Love, Call Me Home.
When the waters are deep, friends carry me over. When I cry in my sleep, love call me home. Time ferry me down the river, friends carry me safely over. Life tend me on my journey, love call me home. When the waters are cold, friends carry me over. When I'm losing my hold, love call me home. Time ferry me down the river, friends carry me safely over. Life tend me on my journey, love call me home. When I'm weary and cannot swim, friends carry me over. Open your arms and take me in, love call me home. Time ferry me down Friends, carry me safely over. Life, tend me on my journey. Love, call me home. Life offers a chance for friends to carry us over. Time can stop or dance forever. Love, call me home. Time, ferry me down the river. Friends, carry me safely over. Life, tend me on my journey. Love, call me home. Time, ferry me down the river. Friends, carry me safely over. Life, tend me on my journey. Love, call me home.
And I ask Michael to come up and extinguish our chalice as we sing with our virtual choir.
Chalice has been darkened. We hold the fire within our own hearts.
I ask you to hold your neighbor's hands as we end, and I leave you with this blessing said by Tiny Tim at the end of A Christmas Carol. God bless us, everyone. God bless us, everyone, and now we will have our lunch.